What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another tier list ranking video. Pardon me while I drink some grape Gatorade, not a sponsor. At least yet, because that would be crazy. Yeah, today we're gonna be ranking all of the Realm Royale items, or weapons, I should say. These are going to be specifically in their legendary form. Just them overall. Sorry, I like kicked my computer and it dislodged one of the cords, but I think we're still good and going here, right? Yeah, it wasn't the mic cord, so we're good. Thank God. Um, yeah, we're gonna be ranking these. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let me take a look. There's one of these is arbalist, and one of these is crossbow. Don't actually know which one is which. Let me look up what they look like, because I think the arbalist is the first one. But I want to make sure because they're different. The arbalist, yeah, the arbalist is the first one. Oh, you know what? They're probably in order, like alphabetical order. All right. So the arbalist, I think the arbalist is actually kind of okay. Look, I think the arbalist is okay. It's not great, right? Like the perk with it is decent. Um, I think it's kind of like that middle. It's not great. It's not winning you a fight, but you're not losing a fight by carrying it, right? Like it's okay. I think that's like actually a good middle ground. It used to be terrible. It definitely feels a little bit worse than either of the hunter weapons, but overall, I don't think it's that bad. This is the AR. I think the AR is a C tier just because of its accuracy. Um, I don't necessarily think it's bad. Like it has high DPS, but it's a very close range fight that you have to take. And if you're not taking it to to maximize your DPS, you're probably losing. Um, the lightning staff is interesting, right? This is like the thunder staff, lightning staff, something like that. Um, this poor weapon has seen so many ups and downs over its lifetime. I ultimately think it's one of the worst legendaries to have. It's got a huge rate of fire, but I think it only hits for like 260. You have to hit a lot of shots. It's not great at range. It's got slow projectile speed. And like the thunder like ability, like the being able to see enemies is like not really that good overall. So I think it's kind of just eh. The burst, I'm gonna put the burst in A tier. I actually still think the burst is a pretty darn good item. A pretty good weapon. Its only drawbacks again are that it's a burst, obviously, so it fires 3 shots. And it's got kind of poor accuracy. It's not terrible, but you can't really take an extended long range engagement with it because you just get out DPS'd pretty much across the board. But I think like mid range to up close is one of the highest DPS weapons in the game. So I'd say it's pretty good. This is the longbow. I think the longbow is also A tier. Having fire on it makes it pretty good. High rate of fire, decent damage. Unlike the thunder spear or the thunder staff, it's high rate of fire mixed with decent damage. I think that alone makes it better. Obviously, like the damage isn't. You get I think 8 shots I want to say before you have to reload, whereas you get like I don't know 25 or something in the thunder spear, and I don't even know or the thunder staff, and I don't even think you have to reload that. I think you can just pause for a minute. Um, I don't quite remember though. That might have been a bug, for all I remember. But I do think that the longbow is like pretty, or the crossbow. Sorry, not the longbow. Crossbow is pretty good. The hammers, dude. I think hammers are like pretty bad. Hammers and axes received some weird changes in their like animations at one point. That made them both worse. I think the hammer is still kind of okay, but it's got the lightning on it, which is like not great. And it's kind of wonky to use. I think that its projectile speed at like long distance is decent. It's not the best in the game by any stretch, but it's not terrible. But again, it's one of those weapons that you're not winning a fight because you have it. Like it's fine and it can be good, but it requires other things to be good. And it just gets outclassed by a lot of the weapons. This one's gonna surprise you. This is the heirloom. We got there. Actually, the heirloom is pretty good right now. Again, fast rate of fire, which partly is what makes it good in my opinion, but also it's got the frost ability, right? The ice ability or power, or whatever you want to call it. Makes people slow, makes it a lot easier to hit. It's kind of more accurate than it used to be. It used to fire quick and be all over the place. Now it's a little bit slower, but has more accuracy. Again, absolutely awful at all long range. Like it's a very weird firing mechanic, I feel, as well. I don't know, it just feels a little weird to shoot, but I think that it mid to close range is actually one of the best mid to close range weapons in the game paired with that ice ability. I'm gonna put the ice staff right in the middle. I think it's okay. Again, terrible at long range, as most of the ice weapons are. But overall, it's got good DPS, and anything that you can slow that slows an enemy is pretty good. It's also got that splash damage while not crazy on it. Even if you miss a shot or something, you're gonna do a little bit of residual damage. So I think that that is pretty good. I don't really like using it. It feels chunky and slow, and I think it only has 6 shots, which makes it kind of cumbersome to fire. Which is like I think kind of like the rate of fire mixed with the clip size kind of drops it down a tier from A to B, in my opinion. This is like I don't even remember what they call this. I'll look it up live. Um, let's Realm Royale weapons. It's like it's not the AR. I don't know. This is not the one with the special name. This is not the Gatekeeper, obviously. This is I want non-class weapons, please. It's just not on here. LMG, I see it there. Is the LMG. It's like a souped up AR. I think it's about as good as the AR. It might be a little bit better just because it's got a little bit more accuracy. But again, like its DPS is not great. It's got high rate of fire, low damage. Kind of one of those like mad weapons that you get and you're happy that you have a legendary, but like it's not blowing anyone's socks off. Longbow. I have to put longbow in A. I want to put it in S, but it's got 2 drawbacks, right? First off, it's got insane damage. Everyone knows how good the damage is from the longbow. It's got the ice ability, which makes it a little bit easier to hit the second shot. But that's kind of where the fault comes from, right? Unless you're fully drawing it back and using like the full potential of the bow, you're not doing great damage. Like if you're quick tap firing it, you're hitting for 400-500 maybe, which up close can be good, but you're probably getting out DPS up close if you're using a longbow. It's a much better long range weapon, but it is a 2-second draw time. I think it might have buffed it. It might be like a 1.6-second draw time. Still, just I mean, it's absolutely forever, and it makes it really difficult, even with the ice, to like, you proc the ice that lasts for 1 second. By the time you've drawn the bow back, they're already free from the ice. They could be leaping, they could be flying. Um, if you're good with it, I think it is one of the best weapons in the game, probably the second best weapon in the game. But just due to the fact that you can't use the ice too effectively on it, and you have to draw the bow back every time, I think drops it a tier. Ooh, baby, the sword. Look, sword is D tier. We all know it. It's a melee weapon in a shooting ranged game. Yes, Edgemaster builds where you hide around a corner. Funny, haha. You're a loser if you do them, and everyone knows it. I just don't think that the sword offers you anything in a game where there's a movement abilities to get away, and there's not a whole lot of chase down potential unless you're right on top of somebody and neither of you have a movement skill. Sword, it's useless. Legendary pistol is pretty bad. The pistol is okay as a weapon in general. It's not very accurate, unfortunately. It is hit scan now, which is kind of nice. But the fact that it's like not super accurate, it's got 15 shots, I think, in it, and it's got low damage, makes it pretty bad. It's also like a tap fire, which makes it inherently worse, especially for the common group of common players. The common group of players, you know, weapons that have like tap shoots or burst fires tend to fare a little bit worse than weapons where you can just hold down the button. That'll change obviously when we get to an upcoming one. Pretty good weapon that's a single shot, but plasma launcher I think is actually I think the plasma launcher is a little bit worse than it used to be. It's kind of it's in a very similar spot in my opinion to the frost spear, or the frost staff. Again, AoE damage, some fire damage. It's good. When the engineer used to have it and he sat up in the air before they removed the class, was like literally an untouchable weapon that made you invincible. Now it's just kind of there. It's still fun to use. I just don't think it's very good. The revolver. I'm gonna put the revolver in C tier. I think it is better than the pistol, and I think it is better than the sword. Is it better than the thunder, the lightning staff? Yes. How much? I'm not sure, but I kind of think that's like your cutoff, right? I think the revolver is good, but again, accuracy kind of bad. It is hit scan now, which is very nice in my opinion. But no one's using a revolver. It's got like insane recoil, so like lining up a second shot is like a little weird. And it's only got 6 shots, so it's not that great. Headshots, it slaps. Other than that, though, I just don't think it's very good. We're finally getting to like the meat of the weapons here. Excluding shotgun. Shotgun, obviously D tier, close range weapons. It does do like maybe like half of your health. Like I think like it could literally 2-tap you. And maybe with some perks, it potentially could 1-tap you even. It's insane damage, but again, close range. No one's using it. No one's excited about a shotgun. That's all I gotta say. The Shredder is clearly S tier. Probably the second best gun in the game, hands down. And extremely potent dot damage. It's got the fire damage as well with it, which is crazy. It's also got a good rate of fire. It's not great at distance, but it can at least hit for distance. It's fairly accurate. It is a burst, which is kind of eh. And you do have to. It is tap. Is it tap fire? It might actually not be. It might be auto. But like it shreds. Like it lives up to the name of the Shredder. It absolutely destroys. And it's got a cool like bayonet on the front. The Slug also gonna be S tier. Slug is OP. It's the accurate weapon, right? It's amazing at all distances. Absolutely domes people. The Slug is like the tried and true gun to go to. Back when they had they had the Slug rifle and like your standard AR rifle. No one wanted to use the Slug, and when it became kind of the only AR for a little while, it's like the absolute go-to base gun. You pick up a common Slug out of your first chest, you know it's going to be a good run. And having it at legendary, granted it's got lightning effects on it, powers on it, but not too bad. I'll put the SMG in B tier. I think the SMG is a better AR. I believe it's got the same rate of fire, less damage, more accuracy. Like it's more like barreled, right? It's pinpoint, as opposed to the AR that's kind of all over the place. It is more confirmable damage. It's probably about the same DPS roughly as the AR at most distances, except for maybe very close. But again, you're not like thrilled to see it, but it is a good weapon. I actually think it's got okay DPS. You're probably going to outgun any of the weapons in B tier with it in terms of DPS, but anything in A tier you're gonna get absolutely dumpstered by, so probably fitting for it. Sniper, obviously another S tier weapon, everyone knows that. It's got the lightning on it, which is the only rough thing, but it's good because you're using it typically at distances, so you can keep an eye on where your prey goes. If you've gotten used to like the drop in the bullet, it's literally the best weapon in the game. I don't think there's gonna be anyone that says that the sniper is not the best weapon. It does. I mean, you can literally 1-tap everybody if you have like the headshot perk, the sniper perk, and a damage buff or a damage rune perks, whatever you want to call them. It's just absolutely a crazy item. And definitely like it's a run winner. Like if you get a sniper and you roll sniper, you're winning the run. Fire staff is interesting. I think I'm gonna put it in A, mainly because I don't think it's as good as the weapons in S. I think Fire Staff is still pretty good. Back when the Fire Staff and the Ice Staff were different, and the Fire Staff actually had Frost on it, or it was like a random effect that could be on it. It was crazy. Um, it used to fire also in like a perfectly straight line for all 3 shots, so you couldn't miss it. It was literally one of the most busted items the game's ever seen. Now that it's got like a lot of weird angles that it all shoots out on, it's very strange. But overall, still very good. The Gatekeeper, man. I'm gonna put Gatekeeper. You know what? I'm gonna put Gatekeeper in A. I kind of want to put. Actually, you know what? No, fuck it. It's gonna be. It's bad. Um, the Gatekeeper is, yes, it's probably better than the SMG. It's probably better than the Arbalest, but it is not good as good as any weapon above it, except maybe the crossbow. Um, Extremely high rate of fire, huge clip size. Everyone knows that the Gatekeeper is a minigun, right? You have to be very vulnerable to use it. It's got a wind up time, and it's bad at anything that's not short range. That being said, its DPS kind of makes up for that. If you roll in, you jump in, drop a barricade, and start firing, you're gonna do a lot of damage, right? The fact is that they can get away, and you're very slow and easy target while they're using it. And now, last we have the axes. I'm gonna put the axes in A tier. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Oh, the axes are so insane. It's definitely S tier, best item in the game. It's because people do not know how the axes work, right? The axes used to be broken because it would be as soon as you click the button, he's throwing it, and you're doing this. Now it's got this weird wind up time where he kind of goes back, makes the sound, and then throws it. So it's like shrunk, shrunk. He actually, when it doesn't have to be a warrior, I guess, but when the character goes to throw it, when the arm starts coming back, that's where it's going. It's going over here. So if you start moving this way, it's still going over here. So the second they wind, all you gotta do is get out of position, and they're gonna miss you 10 times out of 10. It is very easy to dodge if you know what you're doing. Now, that being said, it still does a lot of damage and has one of the best hit sounds in the game. When you're hitting someone with the axe, they're going flump, flump. Like it feels so good. It's also fire on it. Everyone loves having fire on your weapon. Extra DPS is always nice, but it is not as good. Like, you can outplay them with a slug if you were good at the game. The sniper is probably not close to them anyways, so unless it's the last 2 in a circle and it's very small, you're not going to have to engage. And a shredder is going to out DPS it. So the axes just are not quite there. They're definitely fourth, but they are not in that upper echelon. So anyways, there you have it. There is going to be my Realm Royale weapon tier list for this week. Let me know if you agree or disagree, and let's be honest, you'll disagree. But let me know where you have stuff in the comments. What do you think is the best weapon, and what do you think is the worst? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.